All right, we back. Thank you all so much for joining all day for here for another segment. And it is Saturday night recap, Saturday night nightcap. So right now we are in for a full swing, man. I mean these weekend games, NFL weekend games, has not been disappointing at all. Now, for the most part, the Steelers and Ravens game was extremely competitive. It was very close for the most part until the Steelers started making some costly mistakes in the fourth quarter. But for the most part, all three quarters leading up to the mid fourth quarter, the game was intense. It was competitive. It was physical. It was what we would like to see between a two divisional matchups with two teams that knows very well, two coaches that knows very well. And it did not disappoint. It was great, until some mistakes started happening. The Steelers definitely was kind of shooting themselves in the foot throughout that game. Russell Wilson had some costly mistakes, very costly mistakes. Russell Wilson was my boy. I love Russell Wilson. Been a fan of him ever since he came out of college. I will tell you this: there has been 2 times in my life where I was correct when I was so right about which teams is going to win the Super Bowl by predicting it before the season even started. And it was one year I predicted the Seahawks. I know when they drafted Russell Wilson, I was saying like how great a quarterback Russell Wilson was going to be. And then there was one year I predicted the Seahawks to go and win the Super Bowl, and that's exactly what happened. Now, given it's the same situation now, I was always a huge fan of the head coach. When Pete Carroll went to Seattle, I was already big on it. I was like, yo, Pete Carroll's at least going to win one Super Bowl with Seattle. He's at least going to do that. And then when they got Russell Wilson, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know too much about Russell Wilson coming out of college. But all I knew was Pete Carroll. I was like, yo. And I watched some tape on Russell Wilson a little bit. I was watching some film on him, some highlights and everything. I was like, yo, he's good enough. He going to do his thing with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll going to do his thing with him. They going to get a ring. Lo and behold, that's what happened. So it was the same scenario with me. Not with this, hold on. Before I jump to the Chargers and Justin Herbert. It was the same scenario when Darrelle Revis, I played cornerback, so I switched from wide receiver to cornerback. Darrelle Revis is probably my favorite player of all time. And when Darrelle Revis left the Jets to go to the New England Patriots, another quarterback, Tom Brady, probably other than Darrelle Revis, Tom Brady is more than likely my second favorite player of all time. It is so when Darrelle Revis went to New England, I'm like, bro, that year when they picked him up, that 1 year deal, I think they signed him that 1 year, $100 million deal, I was like, oh, they're gonna win the Super Bowl. They're gonna win the Super Bowl. I was like, there's no way in hell. I said, you got the best defensive player in the entire NFL, and then you got the best player to have ever lived, and the best quarterback in the entire NFL, and then you got the greatest coach to have ever coached. There's no way in hell they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. There's no way in hell, and that's exactly what they did. And that phenomenal play that Malcolm Butler did, to seal the deal. It was awesome. And who was the team that they lost to? That they won. The Seattle Seahawks. So that little time frame, I should have been doing YouTube channels then, man. But I was a player. I was trying to work my way to get to the NFL at that time. So I didn't really too much care about coaching or training people or doing this. I never would have thought in a million years that I would have been doing this channel. Never, ever. But hey, things happen, things change, and hey, I was like, football, I can't get out of my system, so I'm saying to myself, let's see how I can still be involved with football one way or the other. I'll never be a player ever again. So, I'm extremely passionate about football. So let's see what I can do. So here we are. So let's go over the Chiefs and the Texans. That was a great game. The Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19, and I can't remember what I predicted the Chiefs to win by. What did I say? I wrote it down. Let me see. Let's see here. Let's get into the notes real quick. I said that the Chiefs was going to. Let's see where we at. So I said the Chiefs. Oh man, I didn't even write it down. But I think I said that the Chiefs was going to win this game. I think I said they was going to win it like 25-24. I think I said, or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, I was kind of. I know I was kind of off on the points, sort of, because I think I said the Chiefs was going to put up like 25 points. They put up 27. I said the Texans was going to put up 24, I think, and so they put up 19. So I mean, I'm not too far off. Hold on, you know what? I actually think I put it on my channel. Actually, let me see. Hold on, because I think I wrote it in my description. Forgot to write the notes down. You see who I said was going to win, what the score was going to be. But give me 1 second. Let's see here. Let's see. Alright, yeah, I got it right here. I put it in my description on the last video. So I said the Chiefs was going to beat the Texans 28-27. So they beat the Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19. So I wasn't too far off. I was 1 point off by the Chiefs, you know, and I was a few points. I was like 6, I thought, yeah, not 6, but yeah, maybe like 6, 7 points off by the Texans. So I mean, it wasn't too far, you know. So I mean, the Texans, I thought their offense was going to do a little better, because I did say 27 because I thought that, you know, the Texans offense was going to be a little better, and that the Chiefs defense was, because I had mentioned in the last video that the Chiefs defense is kind of breaking down a little bit, but their defense showed up big time. Now, C.J. Stroud did make some key throws on their defense, but they bend, but they did not break. So that's a great sign by the Chiefs. Now, with that being said, the Texans, they have been experiencing a lot of injuries on their offense. Tank Dell. Tank Dell went down. I think he went down in the third quarter, I think it was. So, you know, the Chiefs, they did get a big break on that, but even then, it didn't matter. The Chiefs was going to win that game. I knew they was going to win that game. I just thought the game was going to probably be a little closer, and the game probably would have been a little closer if Tank Dell never went down. But, you know, so, yeah, I don't think I was too far off on that. I said the Chiefs was going to win 28-27. They put up 27. So, yeah. And so let's see if there's any kind of other notes I want to go over with that game before I move on to the Steelers and the Ravens. Let's see here. Let's see. Hollywood Brown, yes, playing for the first time this season. He had a pretty great game. The Chiefs had 375 total yards, while Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, who also had a pretty solid game, Xavier Worthy, he's starting to play his role of what the Chiefs drafted him for, because Hollywood Brown is back in the lineup now, and Xavier Worthy can, you know, he can do what he was drafted to do, you know, and that's to be the deep threat, and that's to be the speed guy, you know, plug and play. That's what Andy Reid does. DeAndre Hopkins, they all had at least, so DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce, all of them had at least 4 catches. So that's awesome. Worthy, he got 7 catches. I think he was targeted for 22 times, I believe. So that's awesome, because what that tells me is that Patrick Mahomes, he is distributing the ball everywhere. He's not having a favorite player. And that is going to I mean, it's already extremely hard to defend against the Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes, but that's going to make them even more dangerous as a offense coming into the postseason, because it's just going to be very hard to game plan against them. And then Patrick Mahomes, a guy who knows how to extend plays and always knows how to make those key plays in big time moments. It's going to be very, very, very hard to defend against the Chiefs. You are going to have to pressure. I believe, really, in order to really stop their offense and to shut down Mahomes, you're going to have to pressure Mahomes hard. I mean, extremely hard. Mahomes, he is a master. He is a master at manipulating. He is a master at manipulating pockets. And when you but if you can keep him in the pocket and not have him be able to scramble around like he does, if you can keep Mahomes in front of you and pressure him, you know, you can probably more than likely have a shot. You can have a chance. But if not, then Mahomes is going to make plays. His tight end, Travis Kelce, and his other receivers, his more experienced receivers like Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, they are going to find open spaces, and they're going to be open, and Mahomes is going to always convert those downs. Always. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL on converting on third downs. And what I just said is the main reason why. So that is going to that is going to be tough to play against the Kansas City Chiefs in the postseason. It's going to be tough. And it's going to be tough for the Pittsburgh Steelers to play them on Christmas Day. Hopefully Joey Porter can play on Christmas Day, because they're definitely going to need him. They're certainly going to need him. So Lamar Jackson, he had his way with Pittsburgh in the Pittsburgh secondary. So the Chiefs receiving corp and tight end is way better than the Ravens is. So if you couldn't stop Lamar Jackson, it's not going to get any easier with Patrick Mahomes. It's not at all. And if you couldn't stop Derrick Henry, well, I mean, Derrick Henry is one of the greatest running backs to have ever lived. But the Chiefs, they have a really pretty good running game as well. Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, those are really two physical, solid running backs. So if you cannot, and the Steelers are known for stuffing the run and to containing the run and being good run stoppers. They are known that. And they have one of the best run stoppers in the entire NFL. I can't remember the guy's name, but I think he's number 50 on the Steelers. He's one of the best run stoppers in the entire NFL, but they still were not able to shut down Derrick Henry. Now, he did have a couple good run stops, but it still wasn't enough. So it's not going to get any easier for the Steelers. They're going to have to come through. So let's see here. Houston continued to struggle blocking for C.J. Stroud, allowing only 2 sacks, but also 11 quarterback hits. So, okay, so Tank Dell, he did leave in the third quarter after scoring that magnificent touchdown, and I think that touchdown did put them on top, I think. But it was a great touchdown, but then after that, he was out, man. So, yeah, and after that, Houston couldn't really produce much without him. So let's see here. Even with that ankle sprain, Mahomes looked very mobile. He passed for 260 yards, running for 33, and he was totaling for 2 touchdowns. And he also had pretty good protection from his offensive line. Let's see here. So Houston are without Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs. So yeah, and they're in some serious trouble. And Nico Collins, that's pretty much all they have, pretty much. So they're going to have their offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick is going to have to be very creative in the coming weeks for them to at least have a shot in the playoffs. I see the Texans probably, man, getting knocked out their first game. I don't see the Texans doing anything in the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. C.J. Stroud isn't the type of quarterback, in my opinion, to really produce without some heavy weapons. I don't think he's that elite to do that. I think he's good. That's why I wanted to watch myself by saying he's that good, because I think C.J. Stroud is that good, but not elite where he can still produce when his weapons go down. I mean, there's only so many quarterbacks that can do that. Only a few, and only 4. You got, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, and obviously, like I always talk about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert to me is number 1 quarterback in the NFL, best quarterback in the NFL. But Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, it stops there. There's no other quarterback that can literally produce and be efficient and be productive with little to no talent, terrible offensive line, in the NFL. Those are only 4 quarterbacks that can do that. All the other ones, they need help. I see the Texans, they getting booted out their first round of playoffs. It doesn't really matter who they play. I don't see them beating any AFC team, in the first round. But let's see here. That's it for that game. That's all I need to talk about with the Chiefs and the Texans. The Texans, they did put up a good fight, though, man. They put up a good fight. They made some great plays. Their defense made some great plays. But like I said, the Chiefs was just too much for them. It was just too experienced, and it was just too much for them to handle. Let's see here. And I did say that, I would say this. The game wasn't as physical as I thought it was going to be. I did say in my last video that I felt like that I knew the Chiefs was going to win, but it wasn't going to be a walk in the park, and that it was going to be very physical. It was going to be a boxing match. that's because I thought the Texans was going to come out there playing some real physical football, and they really didn't. I was not. I was impressed by how competitive the Texans were for the majority of the game, but they weren't that physical. They weren't as physical as I thought they were going to be, and they got out coached, and they got out. They looked outmatched. They looked. It didn't look. It started. The game started becoming imbalanced later on in the game. The more the game went on, the better the Chiefs became, and the worse the Texans became. That's how it really ended up. So the Texans, they actually kind of were the physicality. It was a disappointment to me. It was a huge disappointment. Ravens Steelers. This game. Now, I will say this game is a lot closer than what the score shows. The Ravens beat the Steelers 34-17. I said that the Ravens. I said the Ravens were going to beat the Steelers. So I was still right about that. I'm 2-0 right now for this week. And I'm 3-0 actually, because I said the Chargers were going to win as well. So right now I'm 3-0. I said that the Ravens was going to. I said the Ravens was going to beat the Steelers 25-22, and they beat them 34-17. So, like 11 points off by the Ravens. Like what? Like 6 points off, or like 6 points off, or like 5 points off by the Steelers, something like that. So yeah. So they're the Ravens now. They had that pick six. That pick six gave them that 34 points. And so, like I said, Russell Wilson, he did not. He made some. He had some key mistakes, man. He had some key mistakes that really cost the Steelers. So, I mean, he did, for the most part, outside of those 2 turnovers that were costly. And what I mean by costly, because he was about to score, or could have set up the Steelers to score, and then he fumbled the ball, and it was right there in the red zone. And then Lamar Jackson, but later on in the game, Lamar Jackson threw a pick, and then the very first offensive play that the Steelers took, Russell Wilson, he throws a pick six. So, I mean, those 2 turnovers were the only 2 turnovers of the game, but it cost the Steelers. It cost the Steelers the game. So, who knows if Russell Wilson never would have had those costly turnovers? Who knows what would have happened? The Steelers, they did look like they probably could have came on top. I was like, oh, okay, I'm off to be wrong in this game. I was like, I might be wrong on this one, because Russell Wilson was making some really great plays. He played really well. Outside of those 2 turnovers, Russell Wilson played very well. But you can't turn the ball over like that. And especially when you turn the ball over, it can't be as costly. Not all turnovers are created equal. And those turnovers that Russell Wilson had, like I said, Russell Wilson's my boy. I've always been a fan of Russell Wilson. I predicted him to win the Super Bowl, and he did. So I love him, but I gotta do my job too. I gotta be critical, So I gotta be honest, So those are costly turnovers. You can't do that, Russ. But it's okay, This isn't a playoff game. I think this is more of a wake-up call than anything. And the Steelers are still in the playoffs. They just didn't seal up the AFC North, But I think they're going to get together. Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach. He's a great coach. If the Steelers aren't playing the Chargers in the first round, then they are going to more than likely. I think they're going to win their first playoff game. I see that happening. If they're not playing the Chargers. Like I told y'all, the Chargers going all the Chargers winning the Super Bowl this year. And so, my new Super Bowl prediction, since the Bears is out, Chargers and Vikings in the Super Bowl. So let's see here. Is there anything else that I would like to talk about? Baltimore is now 10-5. Pittsburgh is now 10-5. Let's see here. Derrick Henry, he rushed for 162 yards on the ground. See, that was another thing, too, that I was thinking about. When Derrick Henry, I think he broke that 62-yard run. I think it was 62 yards. I thought it was stupid. Now, this is just my opinion. I thought it was not good play calling when they decided to pass the ball on the very next play, and it was in the red zone. And that's when Lamar Jackson threw the pick. Come on. Okay. I know Lamar Jackson, he's your franchise quarterback, one of the most talented quarterbacks that have ever lived, probably the greatest running quarterbacks that have ever lived, and you trust him. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you also have one of the greatest running backs who have ever lived. And the last play that you guys did, he broke off for a 62-yard run. I think it was 62 yards. And they were in the red zone. So I'm saying all this to say was keep the momentum going. It's okay to also have the ball in Derrick Henry's hand. And you're right there in the red zone. I'm thinking there's no doubt in my mind that if they would have handed the ball off again to Derrick Henry, he was already hot. Everybody knows that Derrick Henry is the type of running back. It's the type of player to get better as the game goes on and as many touches as he gets and as the season goes on. The later in the season, the better Derrick Henry becomes. That's why the Ravens were kind of saving him a little bit, reserving him a little bit throughout the season. I've always thought that the offense should be ran through him, but you can still kind of reserve your running back, and still kind of reserve him at the same time. It's possible to do both. It just depends on the plays, the game calling. There's so many different ways to run the ball. There's so many different ways to have Derrick Henry still make an effect without actually having him run so much. But anyway, I think it was dumb that they decided to throw the ball right after Derrick Henry broke off that run. I think, you should have just handed it off to him again. And the result was Lamar Jackson, he made a costly mistake. He threw an interception at the red zone, and that's what happened. So, but it doesn't matter, though. At the same time, the Ravens, they still won. And they won very comfortably. So, yeah. Let's see here. The Ravens, they have now clinched a playoff spot in 6 of the past 7 years under John Harbaugh. And if they win out against Houston and Cleveland, they will have a great chance to host at least one playoff game. So, that's awesome. I don't see the Ravens losing any of those games. I don't see the Ravens losing to Houston. I don't see them losing to Cleveland. Definitely not Cleveland. Now, Cleveland did beat them last time they played. Like I told y'all before, Cleveland is the type of team that can beat anybody. But they're having some serious issues with their quarterback situation, so I don't think they're that team anymore that can beat anybody. Jameis Winston, he turns the ball over way too much. Speaking of turnovers. So, yeah. That would be awesome, man. So, it's going to be big for the Ravens. If they can do that, if they can have that, if they can win out, they can have that possibility to win to host. The Steelers, they lost. They had their chance to do it today, but they didn't get the job done. They didn't seal the deal. So let's see here. Let's see, was there anything I want to go over with the Pittsburgh Steelers? They have been without George Pickens in recent weeks, and the offense has struggled against Baltimore and then the Philadelphia Eagles. If Pittsburgh is going to, let's see here, it will be because, yeah, Pittsburgh is going to have to get that passing game going to really win their division. That's what it's looking like, because since George Pickens been out, the pass game kind of took a sort of a hit. Russell Wilson is still doing well, but he hasn't been playing as good as he has been since when he first started. So, but I think he's going to clean those mistakes up. I think Pittsburgh is fine. I think they're fine, but we'll see. Okay, so and it's kind of interesting how the NFL did this. With the Ravens and the Steelers and the Chiefs and the Texans on Christmas Day, they kind of switched the games. So the Ravens played the Steelers today. The Ravens is going to play the Texans on Christmas. The Chiefs played the Texans today. The Chiefs are going to play the Steelers on Christmas. Both of those games, it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be really exciting games. I'm really mostly I'm looking forward to the Chiefs and the Steelers. That's what I'm really looking forward to. I want to see if the Steelers defense can control and contain Patrick Mahomes in that offense. Because if they cannot, the Steelers are in for a rude awakening. Because they're going to have to play good defense for them to win a playoff game. They are. the Steelers brand, heart and beat, is defense. And if that defense does not come through, it's not going to look very well. The Chiefs, I'm going to put it to you like this: if the Chiefs scores more than 20 points on the Steelers, I don't care if the Steelers win or don't. If the Chiefs you can mark me on this. If the Chiefs score more than 20 points on the Steelers on Christmas, I think the Steelers are not going to win their first playoff game. They have to, especially if George Pickens cannot come back. I don't think that their offense is going to be that elite for them to be racking up points in the playoffs when the playoffs come. If the Steelers, like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if the Chargers play the Steelers, I'm picking the Chargers to beat the Steelers anyway. But what I'm basically saying is that the Steelers, their offense was clicking hard when they had George Pickens. So I don't know when George Pickens is coming back. I'm pretty sure he'll come back in the playoffs, but they're going to have to play good defense for them to make some good noise in the playoffs. Same for the Ravens. I think the Ravens defense is going to have to come through for them to make some noise in the playoffs. All these teams is going to have to. I think all these teams is going to have to play good defense in the playoffs. I just do not see you winning. You going deep in the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl, especially this year, with terrible defense. I just don't see it happening. So I don't really know who the Steelers is going to play in their first playoff game. We don't know. I don't know who the Ravens is going to play their first playoff game. We don't know. But I do know this is that if the Ravens and the Steelers don't get their defense together, unless they're playing each other, neither one of them is going to win their first playoff game. Neither one of them are. I don't think they are. I don't think so. Now, the Ravens does have the type of offense that they can put up a lot of points. So maybe, but it's depending on who they're going to be playing against in the playoffs. If they're playing against somebody like the Chargers or the Chiefs, no, then it's not happening. They're not going to do that. Because the Chargers and the Chiefs, those two teams, they're going to go into the playoffs. They're going to play playoff football. They're going to play playoff football more than any team, I'll say, in the entire NFL in the playoffs. The Chargers and the Chiefs. Because what the Chiefs does, they play really great defense, and they love running the ball. Same for the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is going to make that team play really great defense, and he is going to have them run the ball. And they both have Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and quarterbacks that can, on any moment during the game, can make clutch, key, phenomenal plays that only three quarterbacks in the entire world that can make. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, they do things that no other quarterback in the entire world can do. So when you put that on, I forgot the Bills. The Bills are in the AFC. So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if the Ravens and the Steelers they don't get that defense together, unless they're playing each other, if they're playing the Chargers Chiefs, or Chargers Chiefs or Bills, they're not winning. They're not going to win their first playoff game. It's just not. I don't see that happening at all. Especially the Steelers. The Ravens can squeeze it through, maybe. Not the Steelers. Not the Steelers. So that's just my take on that. So yeah. And let's see, AFC playoff picture. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Scenario. I'll do another video on this. Yeah, because this is kind of off. This is kind of off topic. But yeah. So that's all I got, man. Thank you all so much for watching, man. I hope y'all enjoyed those Saturday games. I know I did. They were both really great games, very entertaining games. And we'll be back very, very soon. Less than 24 hours, so I can give you my Week 16 or for Sunday and Wednesday predictions. So yeah, don't forget that there is a Christmas special on Netflix for NFL. And yeah, so don't forget, if you're a huge football fan, don't forget that's going to be on Netflix. The NFL has done a really great job of marketing that anyway. So But anyway, so yeah, thank you all so much for watching, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about these games. How did you feel about the NFL Saturday games? And were they as entertaining to you as they were to me? Do you think that was very competitive? What do you think about the playoff picture? And what do you think? Do you agree with me about the Steelers and the Ravens? If they don't get that defense together, that they more than likely are going to get booted out the first round of the playoffs, which is going to be a huge disappointing for both of them, because it's going to be a huge disappointment for Russell Wilson, because now questions is going to lurk, and I don't want him to go through this, but it will happen. Questions is going to lurk around the league all offseason. Are the Steelers? And it's just going to be so long and drawn out. It's going to be so annoying, and I'm just going to get so tired of the media talking about it. It's going to be a huge story that the media is going to jump on. They already are starting to jump on it. As I heard Speak for Yourself talking about it, Joy and Keyshawn talking about it, like, oh, should the Steelers sign Russell Wilson, and yada, 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 and Keyshawn Johnson was absolutely correct with his take. What he said is that if he doesn't win a playoff game, they may not sign him. He has to win the playoff game. And the Steelers, they do need to win a playoff game. So unfortunately, in two scenarios, they're not going to win a playoff game. They're a playoff game if they're playing the Chargers, or if they don't get that defense together. So, hopefully for my boy Russell Wilson, he don't play against Justin Herbert. Hopefully, and he don't, because he's going to lose, and then he's going to have to go through an entire offseason hoping if he's going to be re-signed by the Steelers. Yeah, and Lamar Jackson, he needs to win a playoff game as well, because what do we always say about Lamar Jackson? The same thing that people be knocking Justin Herbert for. He can't get it done in the playoffs. He's a great regular season quarterback, but he can't get it done in the playoffs. But mostly people even not Justin Herbert for more. They were like, Justin Herbert can never get it done in the critical moments in games at all. But I don't agree with that at all. But that's what people say. But I think after Thursday, people aren't saying that anymore. But that's the thing with Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens and the Steelers definitely need a playoff win. They do. So yeah, that's all I got, man. Let me know, what do y'all think about that? Give me your thoughts. I would love for you to chime in and let me and give me your thoughts on that. All right, so thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back soon. Less than 24 hours.